Hospital Porter's Pride and Dignity. Stop the New World Order. Welcome to Panmo TV. I'm actually in Oxford again, and I'm off on another adventure, just less than a week after my last one. On Monday, I went to the East Anglia, to Newmarket, to do my talk for the East Anglia UFO group. Now I'm going in the other direction. I'm going west. I'm going to Wales, an expat returning home, and I'm going to my nation's capital, Cardiff. So now, unfortunately, it's not really practical to get the coach to Cardiff, so I'm actually going to spend a lot of money and go through a lot of stress by getting the train. So if you care to accompany me, here we go.
All right, everyone, so let's have a look at where we are going today. Now, of course, I'm going to Cardiff, which is the far south of Wales. The picture behind me, incidentally, is on the other extremity of Wales, the far north coast. This is Great Orme, which is actually on the. It's a promontory on the north coast, a peninsula, and the town you see over that shoulder there is Llandudno, a lovely seaside resort where you can go on holiday. It's very, very nice. It's full of Scousers, but apart from that, it's quite nice. The actual promontory itself is like a limestone, like little hill. It's quite old actually, and it comes out of the sea, and you can see it from a long way off. It's quite high, and it has in it some ancient copper mines that date back about 4,000 to 5,000 years. Very, very old indeed. There's lots of mysteries associated with them, like they found these giant hammers. They found a hammer, a very ancient hammer. It dates back to the earlier period of the mine. Which is huge. It weighs 64 pounds and has a wooden handle 9 feet long. So it makes who on earth could wield that? There were literally giants in the world in those days, as the Bible said. Yeah, anyway, that's a topic for another video, I think. Today we're going to the Senedd. Now the Senedd is the Parliament of Wales, and it first emerged a long time ago, actually, in 1997. Now, 1997. Well, it goes back much further because for centuries there's been like a large amount of dissent in Wales, and nationalist feeling and patriotic feeling and desire for independence from England. I mean, England under various regimes has reached out and conquered Wales, as it did Ireland and Scotland and many other places over the centuries. And this has always been, I think, this relationship between Wales and its bigger, more powerful neighbour has been the kind of core of Welsh politics, I think, throughout history, at least certainly within the last 1,000 years or so. I must say, though, generally speaking, I'll probably make this point again over the course of this video. Generally speaking, Welsh nationalism is different to Scottish nationalism. Now, I used to be a Welsh nationalist, or at least I went through a Welsh nationalist phase in my teens, which I later satired in my novel Evansland. Incidentally, there is a link in the description box to the audiobook of Evansland if you want to listen to my first novel. I'd say Welsh nationalism is less extreme than Scottish nationalism by a long way. It's less extreme, it's less violent, it's less virulent, and it's more diplomatic, I'd say. It's more watered down, it's more subtle. It centers more probably around, I suppose, the most prevalent and long-lasting and enduring forms of Welsh nationalism is around culture, the promotion of culture, the Welsh language, music, things like that. Where with Scotland, it does tend to be like armed. I mean, Scotland does include a lot of, also does include a lot of cultural, linguistic, cultural, and other forms of assertion as well. But the kind of like armed uprisings you get in Scottish nationalism throughout its history, you don't get in Wales. I mean, there have been armed uprisings, most famously Owen Glendower. That was in the 14th century, the 13th and 14th centuries, a long time ago. But there's been several other examples over the years. There was Llywelyn ap Griffith as well, the king who rose up against Norman conquest under Henry II or whoever he was. So there's always examples like this, but the modern, really, from the 20th century onwards, there's been no real serious Welsh nationalist sentiment in the same sense you get in a lot of other countries. The way you get, for say, in India under Gandhi, or in the United States under George Washington, or there's other examples throughout the world. You don't get that in Wales. I mean, as I joked about this because, of course, there was this ridiculous idea that which came up in the Pentach incident, that the government were concerned about militant Welsh nationalism, which is why they had to crack down. I can't remember the exact details. And I joked with Kaz Clark. I said, militant Welsh nationalism these days stops around Leanne Wood. Yeah, that's it. But nevertheless, there was a big push. There's always been a push for like devolved government in Wales. There have been periods where there's been limited devolved government, and then in 1997 there was a referendum, and I remember it because my uncle, I've got an uncle who's still a Welsh nationalist and lives in Bridgend. He was very much a promoter of this, and I remember that's my dad's half brother, and there was a big there was like a yes, it was like a yes or no vote, and it was held on the 18th of September 1997, and it was very interesting. There was and of course, I mean, if you can, I can show you the map here. I can probably bother showing you the map here. I think this map is very revealing about Welsh politics in general. Here we go. You see here, this is the share. This is the proportion of people who voted yes to the Senedd, and you can see this, I think, is very illustrative of the political differences in Wales. For example, generally speaking, in Wales, there's different kinds of people and different kinds of culture. But generally speaking, the further north and west you go, you get more nationalist sentiment. Now, Wales is sort of divided into two types of people. I mean, there's the north and west of Wales tends to be more rural. There are no big cities, just small towns and countryside. It's mostly Welsh-speaking areas, and the primary activity is agriculture. Although there's also a lot of tourism as well in these areas. You see, this is Gwynedd here, pure green, 65% plus. Where I come from, Lampeter's in Ceredigion, which is also in that area. But you go further south, you get like large cities. It's more cosmopolitan. Generally, people are English monoglots, etc., etc. And so, and it's again, there's the large cities, the Rust Belt, and things like that. So I think this map says a lot about Welsh politics in general and people in general. But these was how they voted. You see, when you get down here to the southeast, hardly anyone wanted the Senedd, or the Welsh Assembly, as it was called at the time. So yeah, but they won. It was, people think the Brexit vote was close. This was 50.3%. 50.3% of people voted yes. It was almost right down the middle. But they said, "Yep." The government said, "Okay, you want." There was none of this. Oh, but it was only 3%. It was only 3% of a. It was only a tiny little bit. We want another referendum. We want another referendum. There's none of that. There's none of that bullshit you get with like the Ramonas with Brexit. They said, "Okay, the yes votes won, so we will establish the Welsh Assembly," and they did. They established it. They did establish the National Assembly for Wales, and yeah, it's to begin with, it sat at a place called Tŷ. Before it was a place called Tŷ, which is and there was several other places where it sat as temporary offices and as a temporary home before they built the purpose-built Assembly House was created, what I'm going to visit in Cardiff today. I'll say more about that when I get there. I'll be able to describe it in more detail. The actual purpose-built Senedd construction. So yeah, it's now what happened was that it was called the Assembly for Wales originally. Then they changed it to Welsh Parliament in 2020, and the reason was basically it was given more powers. There was more devolved government, far more devolved government. Now, of course, according to the Welsh nationalists, and I mean I am not a Welsh nationalist. In fact, in the description box of this video, there's a link to my video called "Why I Am Not a Welsh Nationalist," and I explain that in actual detail, exactly what my problems are, how I went through a period of being a Welsh nationalist and now I'm not. I think it's a con, basically, the whole thing, and I'll go into more details as I go through this video. But I mean, just look at what the Senedd is like. Look at what the members of the Senedd, the leader of the Welsh government, etc., are like. Same with the Scottish government. I mean, it seems to be that these devolved governments seem to attract the dregs of politics. They really do. People like Mark Drakeford. If you remember Mark Drakeford. Yes, if you watch my video, I'm not going to put a link to it, but if you watch my videos on Jo Cox, not Jo Cox, what's her name? Sarah Everard. If you watch the videos I made about Sarah Everard and about how he behaved during that period, what he was suggesting should be done in the wake of the Sarah Everard murder, and you'll know exactly what kind of disgusting person Mark Drakeford was, about how seriously he was talking about some really truly horrific reforms. Of course, it's also the 20 miles per hour thing in Wales. It's a product of the Senedd, and of course, more recently they banned GB News. Yes, if you go into the Senedd, you log into their Wi-Fi, you won't be able to get hold of GB News. Even the cucked GB News that got rid of Lawrence Fox and Calvin Robinson, even that cucked GB News they're not allowing. Deary me. And indeed, GB News reporters aren't allowed in there, things like that. So yeah, that's the institution I'm going to go and visit. So is that a good start? I don't know. I don't know if that's a good start. But anyway, by the time I finish this visit, I might have changed my mind. If I have, of course, I will let you know. But anyway, I've never been there before, so there's only one thing to do. Seeing I've never been to this place before, even though it is my nation's capital. Well, I think about Welsh nationalism, but yeah, I suppose it is technically. So for the first time ever, I think we should go there. I hope you'll accompany me.
This here is not a crashed UFO, believe it or not. I always tend to think these things are, but it's not. There's what's happened is there's been building work here now for a couple of months, and it's sort of going on longer than they always said it would go on for. But I don't know what they're doing exactly. But you see these big machines here digging up the road, all kinds of weird stuff. And that's the only way you can get to the station now, is to go over the top of this building site. So we're going to have a quick look at what they're trying to see what they're doing. Every time people say to the council, "Oh look, there's something from my graffiti video." That's a boring machine, I think, digging holes. The council said this would be done in like 3 months. Well, it's been like about 18 now. This Botley Road here is actually a major thoroughfare. It's like really one of the few ways you can access the western side of the city, which is like very isolated from the eastern side. It's resurfacing the road down there. You can see where the road opens again there. Only about 10% of the people in Oxford actually live in that half of the city, but in this little area in what Botley, the western side of the city. But it's almost like a separate town in a way. But they're having a lot of difficulty getting around. And here we are, we're at the station. There is the Ziggurat. That's the side school of business, which was opened by old Bonking Bill. And now Yeah, watching us, watching you, watching them, as they used to say on Edge Media. Well, guys, I'm at the station again, and the typical railway stress has already begun. Yeah, I mean, I didn't really sort of bat an eyelid much when I heard this, so I went up to buy my tickets from the counter, and I was faced with one of these rather sort of like monotone kind of people who talk very slowly. And he said, Cardiff Central, let me see, and he went on for 40 or 50 seconds. He went on doing that, and he says, I'm afraid there's major disruption on this route. All right, he said, and he went, I've got to go. So normally what happened was, I'll transliterate in my own tone at my own rate of speaking. He said, we've got like delays. The delays, and the entire line is shut. The main line actually that goes through the sort of like the Great Western Railways, it's called. That's shut because of flooding at Swindon. So Swindon Station and the entire Great Western line is shut. That includes the tunnel where I go under the crafty nihilist's house. I was hoping to sort of get them to give me a wave, so that's what they've said. They said to me, what you can do is, he said, I've got to go to Didcot, change at Didcot, and then change again at Bristol Temple Meads. Right, so okay, but he says it's going to take a lot longer. I'm not actually going to get to. It says I said I can't. He says I can get a ticket to Didcot. It says the next Didcot train is at 7 minutes past 10, but actually there's one at 9:38. I noticed. So I don't know what he's talking about there. Maybe I'll get on that one anyway. It is a non-stop service. So once I get to Didcot, I then got to go to Bristol Temple Meads and change there, and go to Cardiff that way. And now I don't know. He says the soonest I can get to Cardiff Central, 20 to 1. So basically, it's going to take the whole morning to get. It's going to take the morning to get. Now they said that the disruption will probably be over by midday, but they're not sure. So hopefully, my journey back will be a lot easier, though we don't know yet. So hopefully, I don't plan to spend very long in Cardiff. I'm only there for one purpose. So it's not. I mean, it was one of these situations. You do it or you don't. You have to make an on-the-spot decision. So either I cancel this entire, or I postpone this entire project, go home and then do this another day, which means booking another day off work and things like that, or I just roll the dice and go for it. And I'm going to roll the dice. I decided I'd roll the dice and go for it. And indeed, when I saw the price of the ticket, I was actually quite glad, because I was astonished actually. Day return to Cardiff today, £43.30. £43.30. I was expecting it to be at least twice that. So that's extraordinarily good. So I'm quite glad about that. So I'm going to go for it. I mean, at the end of the day, I've got my earphones. I can listen to Molly on the earphones. I've got a Nexus in my bag. I've got a book to read. I mean, if the worst comes to the worst, it's not long railway journeys aren't a problem as long as you have those things. The only difficulty then is, if the train's overcrowded, I might end up bloody stuck in the vestibule again, which is bloody. If that's the case, there's not a lot I can really do except lie down and try and sleep. Or, I mean, I'm not one of these people who stand for long periods of time. It's just like, it's. So anyway, that's.
Shortly arrive on to platform number 3. It's the 0932 service to London Paddington. The train calls at Reading at London Paddington.
There you go.
So there you go. Of 9 coaches, except their entire level.
Another problem. I forgot my glasses. Now, I don't often wear my glasses in my everyday life. I don't often wear my glasses in my everyday life. Like I say, when I'm at work, because it's just they're more of a hindrance than a help. But when I'm like going on buses and trains and coaches and stuff, I tend to use them like I did in Bedford. I put them on when I was in Bedford, if you remember, earlier in the week, and I forgot to bring them with me today. So it's not the end of the world. I just have to get closer to signs and sort of squint, but I could have done with them. And I just realised that there's some shelves over on platform, what used to be platform 2 is now platform 4. There's some shelves where people just leave books and things, and I could have brought one of my old copies of Rockall, which I can't really sell anymore now, not that I'm giving it away for free on Ben's bookcase. panwell-bb.blogspot.co.uk. That's the second edition of the novel, which is much better than the first. I could have just put a copy there and people could read it and maybe want to buy my other books, but didn't bring one with me. So sometimes you think of these things too late, you know what I mean? Well, it's always a bit of a drag, but there you go. Just got the die is cast. I bought my ticket. Just going to keep going forward now, I think. That's the way to go. Train information not currently available. That's a bad sign. I'm on the train to Didcot, of course. Good old Nexie, yeah. Can't beat it. You'll pass any journey with a good old Nexus at your elbow. Ah, yes. Didcot Brilliant Horizons, yes. I just left Didcot Parkway Station. I thought I'd double check with the guys here to see if the schedule's changed at all. But no, the disruption is still ongoing. Still expected to go on till midday. It's now just coming up to 10 o'clock. And so I've got to literally get the 10:39 to Bristol changed there. And ironically, there's a pub across the road from me called the Prince of Wales, which is where I'm trying to get right now. So there you go. But anyway, this is Didcot Parkway. Reminiscent of old videos, you know, my free energy ones, my Cullum nuclear fusion ones, things like that. But this place has a bad atmosphere, always has done, still does now. So I won't be here too long, I'm glad to say. But I've now got, so I can just, the pub I think is shut. Most pubs are these days. I don't admit, well, I say shut, it's probably just not open yet. Looks like someone's maintaining it, so I think it's probably a working pub and not one of those derelict ones that appear everywhere. I'm just going to explore for a while, listen to Molly, got the earphones, I'll not put them away, or read Nexus or something, and then yeah, let me know how I get on. I'm going to take it easy, take it leisurely. Like I said, I don't have much to do when I get to Cardiff. What I have to do probably won't take more than a couple of hours. So hopefully by then things will be over. Anyway, here we go. Just in case you're wondering. Oceania, 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 'tis for thee. Goldstein, say his name, Goldstein. This is amazing. This reminds me of that Road to Heaven picture you might have seen going around Facebook. I think it's in, where was it? Somewhere in the United States. But it's a really, really long footbridge here. I'll show you some more when we get to the top. Now, believe it or not, this is the bridge above which, or when I stood here on this bridge and made my video about the Didcot power station, if you remember that one. Oh, it was a long time ago. I'm not going to put a link in the description box, but you can find it. It was way back in like about 2009, 2010. And the bridge has had like a roof put over it. It's been replaced by a bridge with a roof over the top, but you can't, probably to stop people like me making videos about free energy, you know, they don't like that. No, I'm sure that's not the real reason. But it doesn't stop birds shitting in here though, does it? You may notice though, if you want to go back and study that video, that the view has changed. The big, what's along here? Oh, it's along, there's some more along here. So the big cooling towers of the old Didcot power station are gone. And the reason for this is that, the original coal-fired power station has been replaced by ones for natural gas. and that's I suppose the reason is because it's less polluting. It has lower carbon emissions. So for that reason, they've switched to natural gas. I mean, power stations all over the Western world are doing that. Not China or India, of course. They can pollute as much as they like, even though between them they have almost half the people in the entire world. But there you go. So as a result, this landmark, the landmark that we designated Didcot in the same way that Big Ben designates London and St Mary's Tower and the Radcliffe Camera designate Oxford, has vanished. It's gone. Oh look, steam loco over there. Do you see it? Now that is the Railway Museum over there, and you've got a lot of old things over there. I'll see if hopefully you'll be able to catch it moving, because there's something really charming about old steam trains. I mean, you know the ones on the Isle of Man that I went on, they were great. They're fantastic. Anyway, yeah, it's all gas fired now, but of course, two problems with that. Of course, I mean, do I need to reiterate that? Two problems. First problem is, of course, that carbon, or to give it its proper name, carbon dioxide gas, is actually a natural part of the atmosphere, and it doesn't affect climate, I believe. It's just using an excuse to bring in dictatorial world government, as I've explained many times before. Second problem, gas-fired power stations really is as much obsolete technology as coal-fired power stations. Why don't they declassify free energy? What about the stuff Raza Vihari is developing in China? Things like that. Anyway, at the risk of just completely and utterly revamping and remaking old material that you viewers have probably seen 100 times before, I think I'll stop it there. You can just see the steam loco over there in the museum. You should be able to hear it. Yeah, you can hear that. Like those ones on the Isle of Man, remember? There it goes. You don't see that very often, do you? Oops. Yeah, that's an unusual sight there. Yeah, all these people are waiting for the same train. It's delayed. Originally it just said delayed, didn't say how long. Now it's saying 14 minutes, 15 minutes now. Yeah, there's delays everywhere.
To announce that the 10:39 Great Western Railway.
That train here is the one to London Paddington. It's absolutely crammed. I don't know if you can see, but it's basically standing rooms in the vestibule and the aisles. I hope the one I'm about to get onto is not like that, but if it is, there's not a lot I can do. Like I said, it's short. I either go home and call it a day, try to get my money back, or I continue with this project, and I've decided I'm going to continue with it for as long as it's possible to. I mean, I've never heard of any other country in the world that has the kind of problems British Railways have. And a lot of people say that who travel to various places. They trains in other countries. You get these delays and a bit of flooding on the track, or leaves on the track, or snow on the track, things like that. Various other little problems that appear. Other nations don't get this with their railways. It's just Britain, and we've tried. I don't know why, because our networks have tried everything to solve it. They've tried nationalising, they've tried privatising. They've brought in various contractors and companies like GWR and all these companies that they bid for contracts, and it doesn't seem to change. And I don't know why that is. Maybe Britain is cursed by the railway demon or something like that. I don't know. I don't think we're going to get on this one. It's absolutely crammed. It's packed again. Look at all the people in the aisle. It also says Bath Spa on it, which is not a station I want to go to anyway, so things are getting more and more confusing. We can get to Swindon apparently, but I don't think I'm going to get. No, I'm not going to get on. So be it. to wait for the next one. It'll probably be about an hour.
This is Oxford, where this train terminates. Please have your tickets and travel documents ready, and remember to take all your belongings with you. This is a security message. If you see something that doesn't look right, speak to staff or text the...
Yes, you heard me. You heard it correctly. We are back at Oxford Station. After that completely and utterly sardine can of a train turned up, the one to Bristol Temple Meads that was terminating at Bath Spa, an announcement came on, not a robot voice, a real voice, and it said, we strongly advise you do not travel. Every train's going to be like this, do not travel. Well, they could have said that before, they didn't. This is after I waited an hour on Didcot Parkway Station, they said that. So anyway, so that's it, do not travel. They don't often say that, do not travel. I'm now going to have to abandon this project or postpone it. I'll be able to continue it at another time pretty soon.
Doors opening.
Thanks, thank you. This is annoying, but then it's frustrating because this has happened before. Do you remember the last St Theo's video? What happened in the last St Theo's video? Again, I couldn't get to Banbury. Just one stop up the line, I couldn't get to Banbury because the railway system just completely collapsed. And I just went back and got a refund on my ticket and went home. And now I'm going to do the same again. So I'm not going to be able to get to Cardiff. It says do not travel. It's not going to be possible. The British Railway network cannot get me to my nation's capital. So there. But it's not the end of the project. What I can do is all these scenes that I've shot I will keep, and we can continue it another time. It's going to be quite a while actually, after I get back from Stairway to the Stars, that's for certain. Because there's just no time, I won't have time now. So, but I will keep these scenes. So nothing's been wasted. I have managed to shoot some of the scenes, but that's all part. These things do happen. But anyway, I'm going to go home. What I'll do instead, I'll do something else today instead to make up for it, and I'll upload that to the channel. But yeah, it's
Doors opening. Lift going down.
I just
Doors
spent the morning
closing.
going from Oxford to Oxford. I'm back again. Okay, I'm on the bus now, away from the station. I walked up here, but I decided to get the bus back. I managed to get my ticket refunded, all £43.30. Bet when I go back and I do this again, it won't be as cheap. I bet you it won't be as bloody cheap as it was today. It's a real pain in the arse. Again, these kinds of meltdowns are not unusual. I mean, it's happened to me twice this year, and it's very often caused, not by giant asteroids falling on the railway line or something. It is just extreme, very severe weather. Not freak weather, just severe weather. And it throws the entire railway network into chaos. And again, I don't know of any other nation that suffers these problems, but there you go. I have to try again. Maybe, as I say, maybe better to get the coach. But if I get the coach to Cardiff, it's going to have to be an overnight stay. So either way, for what I want to do, it's not worth it. So I'm just going to have to risk it again. I think it's going to be a long time. It's going to be after Stairway to the Stars, probably at least a month before I have another window in my schedule to do this. So there you go. Never mind. As I said, I will do another video today to make up for it. I've got some ideas for other videos I can do with the extra time I have now. Well, welcome to Didcot Parkway Station again. Where was I before I was so rudely interrupted? Yes, it is now actually the 13th of January, so it's almost 3 months since I started making this film. Maybe now finally I can finish it. Yet, believe it or not, the train is currently on time. Will that last? I don't know. By the way, if you're ever travelling from Oxford to Cardiff, or anywhere in South Wales, right? When you get to buy your ticket, they'll be given an option: go via Didcot or go via Reading. Now, always select the Didcot branch, even though you have to change twice. You have to change at Swindon as well as Didcot, so it's a bit more complicated. It's it's actually cheaper. It's cheaper, in this case it's cheaper by over £10. So I don't know why it's different, because you see the train you get on arrives at Cardiff exactly the same time. You basically get on the same train, so I'm not sure why there's that difference, but apparently there is. Yeah, he's arriving at the same time, which is really quite something. Yeah, just got to wait now for my next train, and if all goes well, I will be in Cardiff. Well, we seem to go from one extreme to the other. Following my last railway journey to the basis project, this train is almost empty. Just left Swindon. In a few minutes I'll be going under the house of the crafty nihilist. So, crafties, if you're watching, you're about to go through your tunnel. Welcome to our nation's capital. And as soon as you step out of the station, you're greeted by the Heatherly, that means police, and BBC Wales. Two signs of institution they never let you forget as soon as you enter the country. It's just, I've noticed actually that the bilingual signs have changed. They used to have, like, the text used to be the English signs used to be, I don't know if it's universal, it may just be on the railways. The English signs used to be like in black, and the Welsh language signs used to be in green. They were all bilingual. They've now changed. It's now English. The English sign is in light text, and the Welsh is in bold, and the Welsh always comes first. A sign of again national assertion. I've always said that, like, this is how we Taffies assert our national identity, not with guns and bombs, but with language and culture and poetry, music, things like that. And the heart of it all is the Welsh language. So it's very significant, that, I think. We've got the Aluwak barriers, you can't get away from them. But anyway, now I'm going to find my way through our nation's capital to my destination, the subject of this video, the Welsh Parliament at Senedd Cymru. So if you care to follow me, we shall head there now. And here we have an example of Cardiff non-conformist folk art, which I will obviously, if this was in Oxford, I'd make a special video about it. I don't know what's on this side, under this bridge here. There's that bus. I don't know if you remember, but I had that weird experience with a bus. It was I can't even remember the video it was a part of. I make so many videos. This is Lloyd George Way. Yes, I'm going to go this way. But I had a weird, strange, spooky experience with a bus here not in Cardiff. It was actually at Rws near the airport. Anyway, I'm going down Lloyd George Way now. It's pretty much a straight. There's two straight roads that lead between the city centre and Cardiff Bay, where the Senedd is. One called Bute Street, one called Lloyd George Way, and they run literally side by side. They might as well be one road. I must say, it's a more non-conformist folk art. I must say, it's bloody cold here. I was just like, I got off the train. The temperature is much lower here than in Oxford. I brought I had my gloves in my pocket. I didn't mean to bring them with me because it's quite mild in Oxford today. But I haven't got my jumper on under my jacket, and I can feel it. I can really feel that I haven't got my jumper on under my jacket. So I'm now going to just keep on fast pace until we get to the area of the Senedd. All right, now we're getting close to the location here in Cardiff Bay. This is a strange building you see in front of you, the brown one. It looks like a computer mouse. It's actually the Cardiff Millennium Centre. It has a theatre and several other things inside it. It's a sort of cultural sort of thing. Lots of that in Wales. And beyond it you can just see the Tower of T Howell, which is part of the parliamentary domain. Never been here before. It's the first time ever. I mean, Cardiff Bay is it's a big development area, has been for many years. I refer to it in Evans Land, actually. I describe it as a gigantic district full of skyscrapers. But in reality, it's not quite that dramatic. So, yeah, Getting close now. Doesn't take long. It's about a half-hour walk, I'd say. 20 minutes if you're a hospital porter. It's just from the city centre. This is a closer picture of the. Here we have a closer picture of the Millennium Centre. They're playing Aladdin, incidentally, which is very interesting. Aladdin, the Disney film. As you may realise, I'm not a fan of Disney, but Disney did go through a massive renaissance in the 1990s with films like Aladdin, The Lion King, etc. This here, this is it's an odd phrase. In these stones, horizons. But the Welsh on the side is Craig Gwir. It's not a translation. Craig Gwir, which means believe the truth. Flegodia or Furnice, I don't know what that means. Or Furnice. Something of Furnice. I don't know, I should know that. But yeah, this is the Millennium Centre. Okay. And this here in as I say, I won't make these shoes too long because I want to get my gloves back on. This is called Roldale Place. And here we have like a map. This is a map here. You can pause and read this, but we're in this area here, you see, where the Roldale Place, you see there. And this is the Senedd complex here. This is called Roldale Place because Roald Dahl, the famous author, was born here in Cardiff. He's not Welsh though, but they still got a they've still got like this place memorialising him. I don't know what these pillars represent, maybe all the books he wrote. And the reason I know, Roald Dahl was actually Anglo-Norwegian. His name is very Norwegian, but he was his family Norwegian, but he spent most of his, I think he spent most of his life here. The reason I know a lot about him is because, of course, for those of you who watch and read regularly Hapanwa Voice as well, will know that there's an attempt to make his books politically correct. You know what I think about that. We're getting close to the sea now, and then here we have this here is the Pierside building. I think that's what it's called. And there's the Senedd. There's the new Senedd building, and that is called the Pierside. And this is all part of the Senedd complex. So just going to have a look up here. Just going to have a walk down there. I don't have to look at the sea first. We also have a walk around the outside, but I'm going to go inside. Is it we'll have a look at you can see the Pierhead building is a lot older. Mermaid Quay. I wonder if that's right. There's a Wagamama. There may be a Wetherspoons. I mean, if there's a Wetherspoons there, just think how cool that would be. A Wetherspoons in the heart of Welsh political power. How about that, eh? This here is Ivan Novello. Yeah, composer, playwright, actor. Right. This is weird, right? This red coloured stone, you don't actually see. I've never seen this before anywhere except I think I don't think I've seen this anywhere except Lytham St Anne's. Butte Docks Company. Alright, that's probably the old owners of this. This is all part of the Senedd. There's various offices and committee rooms in there. Every man. Wetherspoons? No. But this is, you can see Cardiff Bay here. There's the sea. You may be able to hear a seagull in the background. I can hear it. I don't know if it's picked up on the mic. Here's the Pierhead building. It's pretty grand, isn't it? You see these old... And you see what Senedd Cymru, Welsh Parliament, it's all in there. Although, I think we've got to go in this way, into this building here. Balchder ac Eirdas y Porthorion Ysbyty. A telwch, y trefn newydd y byd. Croeso, I dyledu Hapanwa. The security for getting into the Senedd is... it's like at an airport. You get your bag scanned, you've got to turn out your pockets, they put it through an x-ray machine, you get wanded, that sort of thing. And here are the flags flying. Oh please, don't tell me. They've got the bloody Ukrainian flag. Have they got the friggin' Ukrainian flag? Oh no, please, don't tell me. They got the Red Dragon, of course, and the Union Jack, but what else have they got here? I've got an awful feeling that's the fucking Ukrainian flag. Oh, it could have been worse. But it is, I think, yeah. How about that? Don't they? That's not the current thing anymore. Of course, they can't fly the Israeli or Palestinian flag because, you know, the government are used to pandering to victimhood groups, but in this case, it's like there are two victimhood groups with sort of diametrically opposed interests, essentially at war with each other. So they can't. So the government's quite funny. They're trying to juggle these two victimhood groups and trying to, without pissing the other one off, which of course you can't do. But Ukraine is out. Ukraine thing is out. Obviously, I like all governments. They can't keep up with the current thing. Let's go and have a quick look up here at this building. This is the new Senedd building. This is actually quite recent. I think it was built, opened 2006, I think. And it's made from Welsh oak. And it is actually, I hope we can get in. I've come a long way. So I hope we can get inside. It's made of Welsh oak. And it's eco-friendly, so there's something on the ceiling. There's a device on the ceiling for catching rainwater, which they use for cleaning and flushing toilets and things. And it's also it has lots of energy-saving devices on it. It doesn't have a Schauberger coil inside, of course, but it does have things like solar panels and these other things like that. So and it has a very neat device for capturing when wind blows. It captures the wind and it uses it for air conditioning and things like that. So it's very, very clever. But it says entrance here, so I'm going to try and get in there. Hopefully I can. Inside. I don't know if I'm allowed to film here. Someone will come and tell me if I'm not allowed. But here's a map of the place. And you can see the place now. Good morning. How are you doing? Welcome.
Is this your first?
It is, yes. I've not been here before.
Yeah. Is it just yourself or?
Yeah, just me.
Yeah. You're free to look around. You've got this floor and upstairs, but not the downstairs.
Not downstairs,
No.
okay.
The main attraction is the chamber, which is through the door, the wooden door behind these two televisions.
Oh, right, sure.
As you've done, you're welcome to take photographs.
Thanks very much.
You're also welcome to take any of the literature. But what you might want is, answers to questions.
Lovely.
So once you've had a look around, I'll be on the front desk. Just let me know, and I'll answer your questions.
Brilliant. Thank you very much. Cheers, Sal.
I'll be with you just a second.
Sure, yeah.
Just one question. Whereabouts are you from? Where do you live?
Well, I come from Lampeter, but I lived in Oxford for a long time, an expat.
But you're still you live in Lampeter now?
No, Oxford.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. No, this is the question, you see, because if you live in Wales, you've got a representative there, but if you're not in Wales anymore...
I don't have an AD now.
No, not a problem. We'll discuss a little bit more, but I'll let you wander around, and thank you for coming.
You're welcome. Nice to be here. Yeah, not been here before, so it's nice.
Well, and again, you'll get some lovely photographs. It's a very easy place to
Well, I've got to visit my nation's capital at some point, you know.
Wonderful.
Definitely. Thanks very much. Cheers. See you then.
Good morning, buddy.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, we have to look at these maps. Nice chap, what's he? He comes up and greets you as you come in. They said that would happen. This is like these are the political, these are the counties, or well, at least I can spot a couple of counties. I think they're like subdivided, but 28 is Ceredigion, where I lived. These are geological maps here. Wales, of course, is very hilly and mountainous. It's much more so than England. And there's Snowdonia, the Cambrian Mountains. In the south, you've got more high mountains here, the Brecon Beacons. And there's some. The west is like lower lying. You've seen the west because we went to Pembrokeshire, didn't we? And there's the Pembrokeshire Hills. And these are the ADs, the Aelodau Senedd. These are regions. The system here is there's actually 60 members of the. It's called ADs, Aelodau Senedd, and there's 60 of them. They have like it's a weird system actually, because like they combine first past the post with proportional representation. They have elections every 5 years, and 20 of them are elected by first past the post system on one level of government, and then the rest are proportional representation. There's 40 of them represented that way. So it's kind of a bit like it's like a bit like a bicameral system in that sense, but it is a monocameral chamber. There's one chamber called the chamber. We're going to go and see if we can see that. There's a lift there if you want to get up. So I can go upstairs, but not downstairs. I expect that's where they have the crashed UFOs, I expect. Here we are, representing you. Oh yeah, likely. Anyway, I'll take that down. I'll take the Welsh language one as well, because I need to brush up on that. Yeah. And there's some more free literature you can get. And here, of course, is where you may be able to watch TV or something at certain points. So films, and there's the roof, all made from Welsh oak. Can I have a look around? You can. Oh, there's some TV there, sign language. I'm going to put my glasses on, I think, so I can see around properly. There's an upper level here. It's all very it's all open plan, I think. It's an open plan kind of location. You see how I see the flagpoles. Oh, I should point out that it could have been worse than there being the Ukrainian flag. Well, I looked at it on Google Earth. They had the gender study professor's apron flying outside it. Yeah, the EU flag. After Brexit, it's this. Some government buildings are still flying the EU flag. That's treason, I think. There's some nice things. You can sit down, get a cup of cuppa and things like that. I'll have to find a bog at some point. What's down here? Oh, that's the Shambo, I think. Yeah. Oh, wow. Let's look around, see what we can see. Steady bulb, neutral organ hoeth, agenda. Yes, so it's kind of like very, very woke here. This is cool company, you know. So yeah, he, she, theys, he'll be perfectly at home in this place. There's a lovely little roof garden here, but you can't access, don't think you can get out there this time of year. This corridor here leads to T Hoel, which is another part of the Senedd complex, and the ADs sort of go in and out of there. In fact, but you can't actually access that. They have to be kept away from the rabble to maintain that aristocratic distance. You understand? Yes. This is the gift shop area. Of course, they've got a copy of Evans Land here, unbelievably. No, of course they haven't. But they've got lots of other Welsh books here. Geraint Cymru, Geraint the Welshman. Yeah, Tour de France cyclist. Now these are the badges you can have for your mixed background, because most Welsh people are not pure blood Welsh. We're not pure. Most of us are half breeds. And here, mine would be number 31, Welsh Netherlands. You can choose any of the others that you like here if you are mixed. Oh God, I've got the bloody gender study professor's apron there. Ugh. Anyway, you've got to expect things like it is very, very woke here. We're on the upper level now. But it's over here, you can actually see down into the chamber, to the chamber. Maybe I'll get down there and have a look around, I don't know. I'll keep going around here and see how I get on. Let's have another piece of literature. Wales, a story of devolution. A bilingual, independent, tropical Wales. Tropical will be the day. And it's a bilingual booklet about the story of the Senedd, how it comes down to, yeah. The floor, I think, is slate, obviously Welsh slate. So yeah, and this is all oak. It's got a strange. I think there may be some kind of acoustic effect with these little niches. I don't know. There's this glass-covered lift, just like at the airport. Remember the airport I showed you? Yeah. I'll see if I can get down there. These are the committee rooms and the chamber. Just see if I can get down there. These little pat things here. I think these are simply pages from the book I just picked out, the pamphlet, so I'll check it out later. Here's the Welsh Youth Parliament. I don't know if that's something Westminster doesn't have. Yeah, pause and read that, guys, if you can see it. Yeah. I'll grab a booklet there as well. Whoops. Here's the public gallery. I'm going to go in there now. You can see the committee rooms down there, see? But those are private areas. But there's a camera, you see they're watching everyone. Okay, I'm in a chamber. This is the legislature of the Welsh Government. There's the mace, that represents the presence of the King. There's all the 60 seats for 60 members. That's the window that we were looking through earlier. And it's quite something. I don't know what that symbol is in the middle there, whether that means something. I'll have to look that up. I'll ask the gentleman at reception, actually. He'll know. He seems to know everything about this. He's like the tour guide as well as everything else. Yeah. Now, obviously there's these windows here, so you can't like go see directly, but you can listen. Like there's TV, constant TV and audio, if you can see me. There's continuous TV and audio coverage online. And on Espadwarac, the TV. Well, Espadwarac used to. I think Espadwarac Guy used to show like it should be like the Parliament channel. But yeah, that's where all the 60 members sit. I don't know where Drakeford sits. Probably somewhere prominent down here at the front, or maybe in one of these sort of like die areas at the back. So, and because these windows are here, I can't bring in a rotten egg to throw at him. So, damn it, yes. Mark Drakeford, oh yes. Ban white men from curfew for white men. Yeah, fuck him, wanker. Sorry, I shouldn't swear like that in our nation's capital, but you know that's what I think of him. Yeah. There's certain levels of devolved government. So, for example, there is what they call reserved policies. These are ones which are controlled by Westminster to do with the police, law enforcement, military, and most taxes, and a couple of other things. I'll tell you more about it later. But there are, a lot of policy. Actually, I can tell you now. I'll just look it up. Supposed to be free Wi-Fi in here, but I can't find it. But anyway, the Senedd powers over areas such as agriculture, fisheries, forest, rural development, culture, economic development, education and training, environment, health and health services, highways and transport, local government, tourism, and of course the Welsh language, all governed from here. But there are reserved matters which Westminster handles, which is foreign affairs, police and justice, currency, most benefits and most taxes. So Wales has an awful lot of independence, not full independence, but it has an awful lot of independence now. The question is that a good thing or a bad thing? I'll tell you later what I think of it. And to give you a clue, it's something I've completely changed my mind on over the course of my life. Here is the chamber from the far side. And yeah, it's a circle. In politics, a circular chamber is symbolic of democracy and equality, whereas it's more popular with more modern buildings, with more modern chambers and more modern parliaments. The sort of rectangular parliament with two rows of benches facing each other. That's representing confrontation and sort of like government and opposition. Those seem to be less popular nowadays, although the Canberra Parliament in Australia, which is quite new, has that kind of layout, as does the Westminster Parliament. That guy told me, he told me that, I've never been to the Westminster Parliament to sit in the public gallery, and that the guy at the tour guide told me that these days you can't just walk in like you can here. I didn't know that. I assumed you could just walk in. You can't. You have to get a sponsor from an MP. There's like a 3-month wait, and that is. And then of course, then you have there's all the kinds of hoops you have to jump through to get into the public gallery. I really didn't know. I thought you could just go along and just sit there. I didn't know that, because that was something I was planning on doing, and you can't. Well, that is. As you said, that makes me think there's like a lack of accountability in the whole process, and I understand that. However, having a circular chamber like this doesn't necessarily mean that this is the People's Parliament. Hello, I'm out. That was nice. That was interesting. I'm just about the cold now, but I'm going to go and have a look at the Pierhead building. Bloody cold. Yeah, the guy. There's a very, very nice chap who showed me around. I asked him about the structure in the middle of the floor, and he says it's called the Voice of Wales, or I've forgotten already. It symbolises ideas coming into the heart of Wales. That's it. It symbolises ideas coming in from all the members. It's sort of like an abstract piece designed by this Ukrainian-sounding guy, Poroshenko or something. And yeah, he speaks good Welsh. That guy. He actually corrected me a couple of times when I exchanged a few words. Probably a diversity hire, but you know, he's a very, very enlightened, very nice chap, very polite, full of knowledge, things like that. Yes, and so that's it. That's the Senedd chamber. We're now going to look at another part of the Parliament, the Pierhead. Now, this used to be a very important building in Welsh history because, as the man explained to me, actually, that chap explained. It was where the coal board used to be, and coal, of course, there was a time actually in the 19th century when Wales was the world's largest coal-producing country, and so this was kind of like the centre of the Welsh economy. I'm going to go in there and have a look. Photo of the Pierhead, see, the hardest working man in Wales. Weithio Calentaf yng Nghymru, Sir William Thomas Lewis. Holding a land full of undiscovered charms. Here's some lovely artwork. There's a lovely chalk drawing of old Tommy there. There's a dredger, a ship there. Anthony Hopkins, of course, lots of famous. This is the Futures Gallery here. There's a big room downstairs with a show in like a little silent arch. Cofiwch Dryweryn. Oh dear, I've already had a rant about that. There's Tom Jones again. This is Cerys Matthews. Catatonia. Brilliant band from Newport. So there's lots of famous people, and look at Miners poster there. Little pit pony, poor little things. They were never brought up to the surface. They spent their whole lives in the mine. Michael Sheen, actor. It's beautiful, isn't it? Yeah. Nice gallery, this. There's the chamber over there, see? Just left the Pierhead. And so it's not much in there actually. There's only a few areas that are open to the public, about 3 rooms. There's the art gallery, and there's the big chamber. I didn't show you there, but they're showing like a little movie with captions. And that's it actually. You can't get into the seminar rooms. There's another place called Tŷ Hywel. Unless I've made a mistake, and that is Tŷ Hywel, I can't remember. But anyway, that's another area of the Senedd, which I think originally that was used, either that or Tŷ Hywel, wherever that is, was used as where the Parliament sat when it was first instituted in 1997. However, then in 2006 that new building was created. The building we've just been in, the building I showed you inside where the modern chamber is. Now I'm going to head back. Up Lloyd George Way to the city centre. Should be get back just in time for the 13:20 train home. There's not a lot to do now. I mean, once you've seen it, you've seen it. You know, you can come here, you can see everything within about an hour actually, unless you want to sit and watch the debates live through the window. Now, of course, it's a Saturday. They'll all be at home sunning themselves like MPs do. But yeah, interesting place to go. Very good, very comfortable and well designed, I must say. The tour guide was very good, friendly, very professional man, speaks very good Welsh, knows everything. I mean, he was like really informative. He told me all about the history of the Parliament, where it dates back like into ancient times, the ideas and things like that. And you know, once you get in there, so there's a comfortable viewing area where you can look down onto the chamber and see Mark Drakeford whapping, you know, spouting his poison. But there you are. It's Labour, unfortunately, dominate the Welsh Parliament there. Just going to cross over here. They dominate the Welsh Parliament. They've got like about 40 of the 60 seats. The others are split between. There's I think the Tories have won back a few with Boris. Boris managed to get a few seats in the South Wales Rust Belt. And there's Plaid Cymru, of course, which makes up the heartland of the north and west, which is primarily rural, Welsh-speaking areas. This is where I come from. So this part of Wales is very different to the kind of Wales I'm from. But Wales is Wales. It's still a country. And it's been interesting to see the Senedd, to see my nation's capital. But you know, it's I know this. It's seen as this bastion of freedom. It's what I remember. My uncle, who was a Plaid Cymru official. What's going? That thing went off. Come on. My uncle, who's a big Plaid Cymru official up in Bridgend, he said he's always going on about, you know, he's always like he's very much a nationalist. He's always gone on about Johan Emlyn, you know, our great-great-grandfather, my great-great-great-grandfather, who I showed you in our previous video. He's like, well, you see, he's strange because when he was like my dad told me, I didn't know him really when I was young, but before I was born. But my dad told me when he was a little kid, he was like, is this working, this crossing? Come on. I don't think it is. I don't think it's working. Try this button. Oh, that's it, alright. Hey, that button doesn't bloody work. No one was standing here wondering when the lights were going to change. Yeah, he's like when my dad was when they were like teenagers and growing up, before I was born, my dad told me that he was I won't name him, this guy. Luckily Emlyn Jones, there's plenty of Emlyn Joneses in Wales. He was like he was so militant, like he was like advocating for the MAC, Mudiad Afer, was it something Cymru, the movement for the freedom of Wales, and you know, Three Wales Army, Sons of Glyndŵr. These are the guys who like burn down holiday homes, sabotage railways, things like that. He was very, very much on their side. He used to wear the Awyr Wyn, the white eagle, which is symbolic of them. Now that's the closest thing Welsh nationalists have ever had to a Scottish-Irish style nationalism, that involving violent uprising. That's the closest Wales has ever come to that. Although in the past we had people like Owen Glyndŵr, there were like there were lots of people like that, but in recent history they were. But since then, like I think I mentioned him before, because he's now a new nationalist. And it's like, this is what I observe everywhere, and I'm not just having a go at my own country here. Scotland's even worse. It's much worse. So is Ireland. But last time I met him, it was actually my mum's funeral. So that would be 2006. I last met my uncle, and he said, "Yes, I'm a federalist now." He said, "A federalist." Do you know what a federalist is in Welsh politics? Someone who believes in independence for Wales, breaking all ties with the United Kingdom and England, becoming two separate countries, and then joining the European Union. I mean, it takes my breath away that no one can spot the contradiction there. We want independence for Wales, so we're going to jump out of the English frying pan and into the EU fire. We're going to join a continental we're going to become a vassal state of a continental empire. I mean, surely, I know the viewers of this programme will understand, but why does no one understand that very obvious contradiction? I mean, I've had this, you know, I've had debates with people in Scotland as well, a while about this. You know, when the Scottish independence referendum was happening in 2014, you know, Sturgeon was all in about, oh yes, we want closer ties with the European Union, and Mark Drakeford and Leanne Wood. You know, we want a healthier relationship with the European Union, including membership. You see, and this is why, in a way, what I've just seen today, the Senedd, and that, it depresses me in a way, because it's symbolic of that delusion this delusion, and it's a delusion that's born out of our history, and I understand it. I mean, I used to believe it. I was a Welsh national. I went for a Welsh nationalist phase when I was in my teens, and I was like all for complete, not just Devo Max, independence. Independence. I mean, there wasn't an EU in those days. I mean, this was in the, like, well, I won't tell you how old I am, but it was quite a while ago. This was before like the Maastricht Treaty and things like that. So, but I was, God knows if I stayed a Welsh nationalist, and if I'd ever become a federalist. I mean, in a parallel universe, you can shoot me. God, what a shameful thing. And it's like, yeah, we've like, and yeah. So I went through a Welsh nationalist phase, which I sort of got over very quickly. I think it was when I was like about 15 to 17 years old. I went through this phase, and I was never serious. It was just, I was very mouthy, but not really serious about it. But now I think, you see, our history, it's the reason we get into these things, and I think it's something maybe you only understand if you are from one of the so-called, wrongly called Celtic nations. As I've said before, the term Celtic in today's world, the way it's used in the modern world, is a historical, political and cultural fiction. It's meaningless. The Celts, that is, the Celts are not a racial group. The Celts refers to a culture that existed in Europe, and its heyday was basically in the first millennium BC, which was supplanted by the Roman Empire mostly. It's not a racial group. It has influenced modern Europe, but it's influenced all cultures in modern Europe, not just those in places like Wales, Ireland, Scotland, etc. The reason we wrongly use this word Celtic to describe these countries is simply because the language the Celts spoke survived, and it evolved into the modern languages of those countries. The Celtic family, as it's called. That's the only reason we use the word Celtic to describe these countries. It's wrong. It's wrong. It's not a racial group at all. I mean, I even like this popular idea of the Anglo-Saxon conquest. I mean, my uncle, when I saw him, he talks about the Anglo-Saxon invaders and conquerors. He was referring to something that happened over 1800 years ago. I mean, so it's worse than slavery guilt and all this bollocks you get from the wokies. But this idea that there was some kind of influx of immigration in the beginning of the Middle Ages, it's understandable because you suddenly find the eastern part of Britain in the wake of the Romans suddenly adopt a new language and culture. It's understandable that people thought that was a result of immigration, but this whole idea came about before it was possible to test the DNA in graves, and they found out that places like Sutton Hoo, the people who lived there, were mostly completely indigenous. They had adopted the English language, or the Old English, and its cultures. There's also Celtic features of English, which indicates that it was a second language spoken by Celtic-speaking people. There's two great documentaries I recommend: Britain BC and Britain AD. It talks all about that. It's very politically incorrect. So this is our history, basically. I'm sort of skirting around the issue like I always do, rambling, but the issue is that our history, as being part of the so-called and wrongly called Celtic nations, we have this weird obsession, we have this weird fixation, and that fixation is, well, we'll be absolutely fine if we beat the bloody English. And you even ask, like, people, not me, but other Welsh people, maybe it's because I'm an expat, I can see these things more easily. What it means to be Welsh, what is Welsh identity? They'll say, it's about being victims of the bloody English. We're victims. Oh, woe is us. This sort of massive self-pity trip they go on. It's like the feminists with white men, yeah, you know. And this has caused us to suffer from a delusion, a very dangerous delusion. And as I say, it's a delusion. It's a mind, getting people out of these mindsets, these sort of cultural and psychological foundations. Getting them off those is very, very difficult indeed. And in this case, it is a very, very deeply set foundation. That runs along the lines of, if you live in Wales, Scotland, Ireland, you, and to a lesser extent maybe the Isle of Man, it is physically and impossible. It's against the laws of the universe for your country to have any foreign enemy than England. Any other foreign enemy than England. Which means, like, when Leo Varadkar comes in and says, oh, Brussels, the Euro, Ireland's relationship as a member state of the EU, what do the paddies say? Well, at least it's not the bloody English. It's not the fucking Brits. We beat the fucking Brits. That's all that matters. Ireland beat the Brits. In 1920 we had independence. Therefore, we're going to be frolicking in vodka-flavoured clover for eternity. Because Ireland's beaten it's the only enemy it could ever have. Oh dear, what a disappointment. It's only really, it is starting to strike home now. I think the protests and the riot in the wake of that stabbing in Dublin the other day, which indicates that the Irish people are waking up. But in Wales, they're not. It's all very woke. And I mean no disrespect to the lovely man who was speaking to me earlier, who gave me the tour, guided tour, answered my questions. He was a very, very nice chap indeed. And I've got nothing against him. But you see in things like diversity, equity and inclusion, and things like that. And this, the gender neutral toilets, things like that. So I've done an entire video which I will link. I go into more details on this particular issue, and I will link to it in the description box. But it basically says it's all about. It's called "Why I Am Not a Welsh Nationalist," and I think the title says it all. And I go into more details about these points. Funnily enough, the guy, the tour guide, this black guy. In fact, you may be able to recognise him if you watch the publications for the Senedd. You'll see him because he appears in a lot of the literature. He's a sort of middle-aged black guy. I don't know his name, but he's a middle-aged black chap, and like I say, he's very friendly, professional. Knows so much, answers questions about history, about everything about the politics and about the organisation. He knows everything, you know. You see him in a lot of the videos. He's like I say, he'll be speaking either English or Welsh. He speaks very good Welsh. And but you see, you have I suppose this is like, so Wales is very left wing. I mean, like I said, the domination of Labour is palpable in terms of the ASs, the Aelod o'r Senedd. So I think it's like and I think it's similar things in Scotland, I think. And again, the reason wokery has so infected this country is, again, it's because, well, at least I think a lot of people go along with it because, at least it's not England. Well, come on, let's face it, England's not immune, is it, to that sort of thing? We got our own wokery. But anyway, I'm glad I went. It's been interesting to see it. It's taken a long time to film this. I filmed it in 2 sessions, almost 3 months ago now, and another today. So I'm going to go home and finally edit and upload this video. If there's no further mishaps, I mean, there's a train I can get at 20 past, or I might even find myself a Spoons and get a later one. I don't know. I sort of want to get this over with, really, because it's been going on for so long. But from Cardiff, here, it's cloudy, very, very cold Cardiff. I need to put my gloves on again. This is Ben Emlyn-Jones, News at 10, Parliamentary TV. Great idea, look. There's houses made out of shipping containers. They must be really cheap. That's a brilliant idea. Yeah, I could get one of those. Slightly stranger building here. The Salvation Army. Tŷ Gobaith. The House of Hope. Yeah. Doesn't look very hopeful to me. I see there's a lot of police around here, do you see? Yeah. And there's something going on. If Charlie Veach was here, he'd be going, oh, police, I must follow them and find out what's going on. Oh, you're stealing my photons, I'm on a public street. Well, Charlie probably will come here because You see, the local police in Manchester and the security guards are all used to him now, so they don't rise to his bait. So probably Charlie will turn up in Cardiff at some point. There's the old station. It's a nice old building, stripped neoclassical type thing. So yeah, and of these new 21st century skyscrapers, it's quite a contrast. Have a look at some of these things I picked up. Yeah, this is the representing in North Wales, and this is the same thing in Welsh. This is just some promotional material. Oh, it appears that there's a... Oh, I see. I've got two of them and they're the same. Welsh that side, English that side. It's like two, it's like a playing card. This is the... These are various members. Of the Assembly, of the Parliament. Again, this is bilingual. Shaping what? I bought 2 copies of each. I got 2 copies of each one. Oh, I didn't know they were bilingual. Oh well. And this is the Senedd. See, oh look, the Senedd. I picked up 2 copies of every single one. This is tiny. Welsh democracy. Yeah, that's like saying cool and refreshing on the can of a soft drink. That's the design. That's how it works. I told you about how they have a wind capture machine, the funnel that brings fresh air into the chamber. Public spaces. The public space. And we've just been there, you see, there's the way you come in, there's the front chamber there with the tall glass. It's like, as the man said, he said it's got like a big, it needs a lot of fresh air and light and things like that. And there's the windows of the chamber. And there's they're building it now. That's where they're building it. There's the Pierhead building. You can pause and read these guys, you can probably get this online anyway. Slate, I thought so, slate. So the floor's made up of slate as they're building the chamber. Glass and steel is what they make it out of, and it's the wood. The wood used gives warmth and natural beauty, western red cedar, Welsh oak. There's the opening of the Senedd. There's the Draco, Royal Draconus, who's now gone to the reptile house in the sky. And on you turn it over, and you can read the same thing in Welsh, if you can. So that's for those that, oh, this, I've got all these all the same. See, this is like, but this is the Welsh youth. Is that the same? No, it's not. No, it's not. See, you turn it over, it's actually not a bilingual one. This is the history now, the story of devolution. It talks about how it went back. This is 950 to 1413. Wales has her own native law. Hywel Dda, Hywel the Good. That's probably why that building's called T. Hywel, famous king. A rebellion 1400, 1415, Owen Glyndŵr. He's the noble prince, as we call him. Yeah. Organised Parliament in Machynlleth and Harlech. And this is 1880. Various schemes for home rule. This is plan showing the site of the proposed Welsh Parliament. Although Cardiff was actually only made officially the Welsh capital in 1955. This is Parliament for Wales campaign led by Lady Megan Lloyd George. And there she is, that's the wife of the Prime Minister. They had their own Ramonas, look, keep Wales united with Britain, no to the Welsh Assembly. Devolution, refresh the part of the post-coalition. There's a 1979 referendum, but then of course 1997 Wales says yes. You can see the split, can't you, the cultural split here between the Welsh-speaking rural areas and the southern industrial areas, and of course Pembrokeshire, which is like a bit of an anomaly. South of Pembrokeshire,
Very strange. In 1999, the National Assembly met for the first time. Chose the first members of the Assembly. The trade should be a soon. In 2006, that's when they built the new building. That's this building we just seen, which I showed you. 2007. The Assembly members met at the National Assembly. So it's called the Assembly and it became the Parliament. Once the National Assembly simplest and most effective elections, single-use carrier bags charge. I'm not against that actually. People shouldn't use these things and throw them away. And here, the Welsh electorate voted for third devolution referendum whether to make primary lawmaking powers to be extended. And of course this actually happened, didn't it? The 2017 Wales Act established the National Assembly. 2018, the first to devolve Welsh taxes. Oh yeah. Isn't it wonderful? We're being taxed by our own country. The government is stealing our money. It's not the Westminster government now. We've got our own government to steal our money. Isn't that great? Oh, wonderful. Yeah. And 2019, members of the Welsh Parliament. 2020. And it was a fully fledged Parliament, and no longer just an Assembly. Senedd Cymru, Welsh Parliament. And that is it. So if I think of anything else to tell you, I will. But my train's coming in a minute. The cashless catering trolley has been around again. Unfortunately, we may have passed peak cashless, but you know they haven't done the booths yet. But we live in hope. Just passing Seven Tunnel Junction. It's a great name, that. Seven Tunnel Junction, the name for a railway station, and we'll soon be entering the tunnel, the Severn Tunnel that takes us back to Wales, back to England, out of Wales, other way around. Yeah. Don't want to be going into it now, going down into this cutting. It's a good few minutes it takes to get through there.
So we don't disagree with me to then answers, Josh. Okay, we're using this is.
There we are. Ooh, we're in the tunnel. Yeah, we're in the tunnel. Now, a lot of you probably want me to comment on one thing I've not mentioned, and a lot of you probably want me to talk about, is of course the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit that's been introduced into Wales. Because as I explained earlier, the devolved government does have authority over roads, and it does introduce laws to do with roads. Now, this is something that the tour guide, the black guy who was actually behind the desk, he brought this up. I didn't ask him about it. He just happened to mention it, and he mentioned how so many people were complaining about it. And I said it's got a lot of bad press. I didn't sort of like give a full opinion of it, but I said it's got a lot of bad press. You probably seen lots of Welsh people I know now have switched their avatar to the red snail instead of the red dragon flag. But he said, and I mean I can see his point in a way, because I mean although I don't approve of it. He said that there are 4 stages introducing a law in the Senedd. First is it's proposed by committee, then it goes to public consultation, and it's debated in Parliament, and there's a second public consultation session, and then it's voted on in the chamber, and then it's passed into law. Now, what's interesting is no one actually said anything until it had already been passed into law. And because the reason is that's when most people first heard about it. Which I think it's so important if you do live in Wales, or indeed anywhere really, is you keep an eye on what's going on in your government. And I don't mean when they bring in a law you protest,
you have to start protesting before you reach that point. So when the public consultation stage starts, we're still in the tunnel, so it takes about 7 minutes or so to get through. We're going under the Severn estuary, you see. Just hope it doesn't leak. Yeah, when you need to make your voices heard before then. I mean, this is a good example. Is the online harms bill, which was rejected by Parliament, or it was rather like the Schumer amendment. All the most potent bits of it were like removed. But of course, Labour are going to try and get it through again, because when Starmer becomes Prime Minister. Not that I'm advocating voting for the Tories, because they'll do exactly the same thing. But at the moment the press aren't talking about it. It's only the alternative media that are talking about it. And this is an example of however squeaky clean and open and honest these things look, whether it's the Westminster Parliament or any other. You can't trust them, because the press, the media, in a sense, control. The media essentially control what goes on, because the media is all controlled, or at least even the privately owned ones are all in the pockets of the government. So the government just if it wants to bring out a law, it just gets the media on its side. And it's like, of course, you can think of numerous examples of this, couldn't we? And we're through. We're back in England. You can drive at 30 miles an hour now, but these transparency, this sweetness and niceness that the guy was talking about, and what I've observed in the Senedd, only works. It only works in a politically aware population who won't be fooled into just looking at whatever the media tells them to look at. Well, welcome to Swindon. It's good timing, actually. I've only got about 10 minutes or quarter of an hour or so to wait for my next train. The good thing is, the announcer won't shut up. I'm just going to have to talk through it. The train I was on was delayed slightly, which didn't really matter. It just means I've got more time to wait and sit in a seat on the train rather than wait on the platform. It's absolutely fine with me. And there's a helicopter flying over now. I can't find a quiet place. Oh, right. That's the Men in Black. No, it's not.
This train may be delayed at Swindon.
I hate these robot voices.
A safety inspection of the track in the Swindon area.
And of course, in Wales, it takes twice as long because I have to read everything out in Welsh as well. Now, I'm just going to say that a word about the media. I'm always thinking of new things to talk about.
The station.
I'll forget it. I'll do it later. 14. Right, we've got a kind of outdoor waiting. Oops, sorry, you couldn't see me there. Yeah, an outdoor waiting area here, which may be a bit quieter in here. Yeah. Oh, that's better. Yeah. I was going to say there's like a few more words about things that I learned. For example, the tour guide told me that the mace I showed you in the chamber, it's actually not Welsh gold. And as you may know, Wales is one of the few gold-producing nations left in Europe, and we don't have our own currency. As I said, that's one of the reserved things for Westminster. So we don't have a Welsh currency, despite the Welsh pound, which is a story I don't have time to tell you. But it's actually Australian gold. The mace was actually made in New South Wales, Australia, and it was made and it was moved and it was sent over as a gift from Australia to the Welsh Assembly, which then became the Welsh Parliament. Now, another thing I should point about media. Now, I never got a chance to try this out because I never actually was there. I wasn't there long enough to use the Wi-Fi. But all media outlets are permitted. There's a presence there for the BBC, the Sky News and people like that. They're all there reporting on the Parliament, on the goings on in the Senedd. Now, there's one exception, which is GB News. This ties in with what I was saying about Wales being very woke and the devolved government being very sort of left-wing and sort of lovey-dovey kind of like anti-white male sort of, this kind of thing I mean, SJW. They banned GB News because they said it's racist and divisive and sexist and all these other things. It's not as if GB News is particularly extreme. I mean, they cuck left, right and centre. I mean, look what they did. they got rid of Lawrence Fox and Dan Wootton because of all the complaints. And then when Calvin Robinson protested, they got rid of him as well. They just said, "Stop it, Calvin! Don't you dare! Don't stand up for these evil people!" And they got rid of him too. They went on a sacking spree. So you know they gave in. They tried to appease the wokies, and they tried to and which of course doesn't work because they never satisfy. They just want more if you try to do that. But the point is, it's not exactly even extreme yet. It's banned. It's banned from, this to me is another disturbing element of this. That they banned GB News. I consider GB News, for all its faults, it's about the only news channel worth watching. It's the only news channel that doesn't try to play a horrible guilt trip on me and make me feel like I'm evil because I'm a white male. I mean, and they ban it. Just 'cause it's not perfect, I still think it's... Anyway, that's another thing. A couple more details there I remembered, which I didn't write down. Because I do make notes of things, but sometimes I sort of forget them. Anyway, this is Swindon Station. That there is the headquarters of Podcast of the Lotus Eaters. No, it's not. It's an office with a railway. You can see the railway symbol up there. As I said earlier in another video, I think they filmed this stuff out of Sargon's garage. So now I'm just waiting for just a few more minutes and it'll be the train to Didcot. Getting close to Didcot. Can you see there's the cooling steam coming up?
Please take all your belongings with you.
The big cloud of steam coming up. The famous chimneys, the cooling towers are gone. They now have this is all gas fired now. So the power station is gas fired. Didcot A, Didcot B they're gone. Okay, this is our train. It says front 5 coaches only. This train has 9 coaches. Now, why is that, I wonder? Why can we only use the front 5 coach? I'm going to have a look, because they might have aliens in there or something. That's why we're not allowed on board. Aliens in the last few coaches. 4 coaches full of aliens.
Railway service to Oxford. Maybe it's a bit better there than it is here. Train's going to be calling at Oxford only. This train is on the 9 coaches. First class we found the Maria's train, if you want to go there. It's zones 10 and 11. It's quite far down the platform. Second class we found is zones 1 to 9. So it's platform number 3, 1503, Great Western Railway service to Oxford.
Okay, the last 4 coaches have aliens in, I reckon. Because we're only allowed to use the first 5 coaches. First, second. Let's have a look. See. There's people getting off them. Oh. They're not aliens. They're human. Oh well. Looks normal in there. No aliens. There must be another reason why we can't sit in there. Let's have a look. Just take one more look. Oh, they're humans. You look human to me. This is the guy with my tour guide.
Rydym galw'r prif sesiynau yn gyfarfodol. Gyfarfodydd yma yn cael eu hawl gan y Llywydd sy'n eistedd y tu ôl i'r ymysg oer ac yn union gyferbyn ar Prif Weinidog Cymru. Mae'r Llywydd yn gweithredu fel niferydd y Senedd ac yn gwneud...
Doesn't say what his name is, but that's definitely him. Well, welcome back to Oxford. It's been well, it's not been that much of a long day. It's only like it's coming to 4 o'clock. As I said, this film has been a long time in production. 2 periods of filming, almost 3 months apart, but I've done it. I look forward to uploading this. I think it's worth doing. It's worth having that experience of going to see your nation's capital, just looking into the political side of things, regardless of your opinions, and maybe getting in touch with some of your roots. And although, as I said, I'm not a Welsh nationalist, I'm not even a devolutionist, I found it very interesting to see. I think the place had a nice atmosphere, helped by the very genial tour guide and the very knowledgeable tour guide. And it's maybe as time will come in the future when it can be put to good use. I'm not against disbanding it. Possibly in the post-Illuminati world, it could play a major role. It could play a major role in the reconstruction during the transitional period. And possibly, who knows what kind of Wales will emerge from that. One with closer links to England. Maybe, certainly not part of any European empire, but maybe Wales with a new form of independence. A form of independence that is not bitter and recriminatory and built on engineered resentment, which is what you find in the so-called Celtic countries today. We'll see. Time will tell. Thank you for watching Parliamentary TV. Hospital Porters, pride and dignity. Stop the New World Order.